To be a man is to be a warrior. You're the leader of the pack. You're the captain of the team. Jesus is a warrior. He flipped tables. He built whips. He yelled at Pharisees in public squares. How about just having the nads to stand up to someone in public? Weakness is not something to hang your hat on. It's no good. The people who use the word toxic masculinity don't want to hear warrior stage. We need to be able to stand up for our wife when someone insults her in public. That's what I bring to the relationship.
Yeah.
Is that I'm going to protect and provide for this family. My home is safe because I make it safe. Man, I'll tell a story. This is a bit vulnerable, but it haunts me to this day. We need to be the man. We know that we need to be the man. Welcome to Built to Lead podcast with Jory Evans and
Tyler Wall.
Yeah, this is part 2 of a series that was not meant to be 2 parts, but I got a little long-winded on the last one. So we're breaking it down. I'm going to do a quick overview summary of the last one in case it's been a while or you didn't get a listen on that just yet. So we were talking about a bunch of my favorite books and what it means to be a man. So we were talking about the book Wild at Heart by John Eldredge, as well as I'm going to break more into the book Fathered by God on this episode. And then also the book Endurance, which is the story of Ernest Shackleton and 28 men who took a trip in 1914 to Antarctica and got stranded and trapped for 18 months in the sub-minus 20 temperatures with no food and no supplies, and just an absolutely outstanding wild story. You got to read the book. It's just too good. I can't describe it well enough on here. You just got to read it. Read Endurance. It's a great book. Favorite non-self-help book that I've ever read, for sure. No question. Cool. Okay. So going back into that Wild at Heart, we talked about the wound. We all have a wound as a man, and that wound is the answer to the question we're looking to is, can I come through? Do I have what it takes? Mm-hmm. Right? We're talking about the enemy speaking into our ear, telling us we don't have what it takes and that we shouldn't risk it and we shouldn't go for it and that we should sit back, be passive, weak, useless men.
Yes.
That's what he wants. But God made us in his image and he says, you do have what it takes. I built you for this. Go after it. Take the risk. Get into the adventure.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we're talking about here today, is that's the truth that God has for us. We're going to talk a little bit about who Jesus was, who Jesus is, who God is today, and how he expresses his masculinity and how we can connect with that a little bit. The 3 main things from the last podcast: 1, a battle to fight, that as a man, we have a need to have a battle, something to be working against and tackling and fighting against, a mission, something that means more than who we are, something to live for and to fight for, and what happens in the good and the bad of if we have the right one and if we don't have the right one. Secondly, an adventure to living a life in intentionality, going after exploration and excitement, adventure and risk, and what that looks like in a healthy expression and what it looks like in an unhealthy expression, and how we want to live and create a life that's a story worth writing down in our journal.
Yeah. Right.
Lastly, 3rd point, a beauty to rescue. The golden-haired woman, the thing that, then the majority of men are looking for, that relationship, that female, that the dream girl, and how we are meant to expend our strength on that, and what a positive and healthy expression of pursuing and chasing after the love of our life and being the hero and the provider and the protector of that, and what it means. Yeah. So broke that all down. Be a man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And my hope and prayer is that the men would walk away feeling very encouraged.
Invigorated.
And ready to, invigorated is a great word. Mm-hmm. Just ready to go out and tackle the world.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to say it again. If you haven't read these books, Wild at Heart, Fathered by God, Endurance, go out right now, buy the books, get them put them beside the place where you like to sit in your house and just start reading these books. They're life changers. Again, Wild at Heart, I've read every year for at least a decade. It speaks to my heart in such a way. It reinvigorates who I am as a man, and it lights me up. And I think every man could use that, especially in North America.
Endurance sounds like a great audiobook to listen to while you're running or working
yeah,
out.
I haven't done the
or
audiobook.
something
I
like
might
that.
that's a good idea. I might re-download it and listen to it when I'm running.
That sounds like a hoot to just be like
Yeah,
out there
it's
working
just
out,
the
and it's
most
like
epic story of all time. It's just so great, right? And so we talk again. If you didn't listen to the last one, you need to go back and listen to it. Spectacular podcast.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about that book in there. We're going to talk a little less about it in this episode, but tons of really great stuff for men to dig into and for women to hear about men as well. So
that's good.
Moving on, we're going to talk more about Fathered by God today, the story of that. Before I get into it,
Okay.
I always forget. Pause this podcast right now.
Yes. What?
Go like and subscribe. We need you guys to subscribe.
Yes.
It helps us get more traction. It helps us get this more in
do.
motion and going. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere that you could possibly go. If you haven't been beat down by our reels yet, go and follow us, like us, subscribe.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it when you guys do. We're trying to build something out of this podcast. We're busting our butts every month, putting this stuff together for you, trying to create amazing content and help you guys grow. All I'm going to ever ask you to do is like and subscribe and connect with us.
Yeah. If something resonates,
Well, and
just
share
it,
this with somebody you know needs it. Like you're getting value out of it. You surely know someone else that is going to get value out of it. So send it. Click the link on the Apple podcast, send the video out of YouTube, share the reel with your buddy, send it to your dad, whatever. Just do something with it. Don't just let it sit there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're putting out tons of value. This isn't monetized.
No, we're not making money from this.
Not make any money at all. We're just giving this information out. This great
we
value.
want to impact.
Yeah.
Right. And so in order to impact, we need you to help us out with that.
Absolutely.
So moving back on. Okay. Fathered by God. Okay. So basically what Fathered by God is, and it's a breakdown. It's an addition to Wild at Heart. It does talk about, the heart of a man and what our needs are and what we are, but it more focuses in on the stages of the life of a man and how we walk with God throughout the course of that. Right. And I love it for that because I think sometimes we skip stages, we miss stages, we don't have the depth that we have, and we don't let God walk us through what it means to be a man the way he intends us to go through that. And I thought this was a very intuitive and tactical breakdown of how we can do this. And I use this content in conversation with men constantly. Constantly I refer back to it about the stages and what we're supposed to learn through each stage and how we can express that. And often men through the course of their life, they get stuck. Like they don't move past the stage. Like, hey, you're supposed to mature more than where you are. There's more to life than what you're living in right now. And yeah, maybe you're 45 or 55 or 60 and you're still in stage 3 of 6, but you can keep going. Like you can move to the next stage. You can continue to mature and be intentional about walking with God through these things. And he wants to walk with you through them. Right. And so for me, this really engaged my mind, and my understanding is, hey, there's seasons for everything, and to take the time to appreciate, smell the flowers, and look around and get everything I can get out of each stage of life, right? So, first stage, call it boyhood. So this is from 0 to 12 years old. I have 3 kids. I got 2 boys, and I can attest for myself and for them. Things change after 12, right? I got my youngest is 12 right now. My oldest is 15, going to turn 16 here shortly. It's a big difference between 0 to 12 and 13 to 18 or whatever it be. So we're a toddler. We're moving through the stages of figuring things out. Everything's new all the time. We have no experience. We have no context, but we're just, everything's new, right? We're playing, we're adventuring, we're exploring. We hopefully and ideally we have a safe environment to learn it in, and we're free, right? The boy is chasing the crickets in the field. He's petting the dogs and the cats. He hasn't been burnt his hand on the stove yet, right? Like, so everything's new. We're learning to walk. We're learning to talk. We're learning everything we got to learn, right? Not a super complicated stage, but as a father, I need to look at that and go, how do I make my son the freest that I can? How can I give him room to explore and to try and to test and to see everything that he can see and to have an adventure and be playful with him? Because that's the period of life that he's in right now. He wants to play. That's how he learns. That's how he expands. That's how he grows, right? And while we're boys, we really don't have any responsibility. Yeah, we're going to learn to clean our rooms a little bit, but mostly we're just going to do what we're told when we have to, which takes away our freedom, which we don't really want. Right. And we're going to buck against that. My 12-year-old does not want to load the dishwasher ever for any reason. He would much rather be shooting a bird in the yard or chasing a muskrat in the field or jumping on the trampoline or whatever that he's doing. Right. Like my son, he's tried to figure out a lemonade stand. He's selling stuff. Then he's over here. Then he's chasing this. And like he's running everywhere in every direction. Just wants to see everything, touch everything, loves animals, and just all these things. And this is the stage that he's in, and that's beautiful, right? And so we want to appreciate that stage. As a father with a son, we want to make sure that they have the safety to play and to run and to experience and explore, right? Okay, which is good, and we all want to go through that. Unfortunately, some people, that's stolen from them. At a young age. They deal with trauma. They deal with dad parenting. They don't have a safe space. When we see people, especially men when they're older, who are dealing with this kind of a loss of this stage of their life, they have some very strange mannerisms, thought processes. I always point to that they're lacking a foundation, especially in these first two stages. If they didn't have a strong father figure in their life, it's like they didn't get a foundation to build their manhood off of, and so that they're just holes that don't make sense. And I see this in a lot of young men, from 20 to 30 years old, where they just have like a giant gaping hole in some thing that they should understand or know, because they didn't explore and they didn't have a free reign to do that, or they got, their parents locked them in a room with video games and they never saw anything else other than that. Right. So then they didn't interact with other humans. And so they didn't learn how to have a conversation or shake a hand or anything like that. Right. They weren't out there seeing everything. They didn't play a sport. They didn't swing a bat. They didn't go for a swim. Yeah. Right. This is what they're supposed to be doing in that stage. And we're supposed to be honoring that. But when we have bad parenting, it takes that foundation away, and it's very damaging in the long run. Okay. Moving on. Stage 2. They call it the cowboy in here. So basically we're going from 13 to 19 in this stage. And this is where my oldest son is right now. So it's interesting watching him go through that. And I often think back to when I was that stage. Here we're testing, we're proving, we're looking for independence. We're trying to figure out where we can take care of ourselves, or where we can, like, what's it like to be a man? We're finding our courage, right? We 0 to 12, when we're afraid of something, we run away. When we're 13 to 19, we go, can I take this? We're testing our courage on things. Hey, can I jump off that thing? Hey, can I ride my dirt bike this fast? We're asking these questions more. We're okay with a risk, but we're going to face a lot of failures. So we're going to make a lot of big mistakes between 13 and 19 years old as a cowboy, right? Yeah. But we're given opportunities. Right. My son right now, he's worked for a company the last few years, worked in the wash bay, got to drive some trucks around the yard. He's super excited about that, testing that out. He got a scooter, so he got a little bit of freedom. There's some risk. Parents are scared to death as he's driving 20 kilometers on back roads from our house to work every morning. This year, he joined our construction crew. And so he's shoveling, he's building calluses on his hands. He's working under other people's leadership. He's making mistakes. He's learning, but he's taking risks, and he's trying new things, and he's given a little more responsibility and a little more responsibility and a little more responsibility. Right. And so we're allowing them to grow from that 13 to 19 in their responsibility, in being able to take things on and kind of bear the weight of what that feels like to have that responsibility. We're teaching them how to take measured risks, the right amount of risks, and knowing that they're going to fail quite frequently because they don't have the experience to back it up, right? So they're going to try something, it's going to fail, and then we're going to have to dust them off, pick them up, and tell them to try again. Yeah. Right? I think about this. I took my boys on this really tough dirt bike ride last summer. And my youngest would have been 11, 12-ish then. My oldest is 14-ish. And so we're climbing this like it's about 5-hour round trip. It's a long, tiring gruel for the young kids, right? And they got little smaller bikes, but the bikes are super heavy for them. They're getting better with their skills, but it's still challenging. But we have to climb this massive, long rock hill. And I know for them, they're going to fall down 5 to 8 times going up this hill. We're going to have to pick them back up, dust them off, start the bike, get them going again.
Yeah.
Right. My youngest, 11, 12, didn't want any of it. Didn't have the grit behind them. And I'm not saying all kids are this way, but I'm just saying this is kind of the difference of the stages. I'm tired. I don't want to. This sucks. Why do we have to do this? We're asking different questions, right? And so I'm still dusting him off, and he bangs his knee and he's crying, and he's done. After about 3 falls, he's done. We got up and over and we made it happen. And we learned about grit and those kinds of things. Older son falls down. He's picking himself up. He's kicking his own bike. He's not asking, why do we have to do this? He's thinking to himself, can I do this? And he's going to wipe out just as many or more times, but he's looking for his independence. Yeah. He's earning his independence on this hill. Right. And maybe there was a tear or two shed, but it wasn't in front of me. Yeah. Right. And he's trying to be a man. He's trying to grow into his strength. He's being courageous and tackling this hill, and he's seeing what he can do.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And it's the picture of the two is a stark picture for me as a father, watching them go through the different stages. Right. Yes, my youngest explored and learned and got a lot from that experience, but I had to carry him most of the way.
Right.
Whereas my cowboy, 14, 15-year-old son, he's finding his courage. He's finding his strength. He's taking his risks. He's looking for his independence, and he's tackling it in a very different way than my younger one is. Right. And I think it's a pretty good picture of what the cowboy stage is. Right. In the book, he talks about working John Eldredge when he was younger. He worked with his grandpa, and they had a cattle ranch in Oregon. And so he'd go there every summer, and he'd spend the summer at the cattle ranch. And to the point, 12, 13 years old, he would go help his grandpa. He'd come along for the ride. He learned how to ride horses, and he would do this and do that. And so he was always helping, and he was alongside. But when he was 13, 14, his grandpa and him were having a break in the house, and one of the cows got out. And he said, okay, go get the cow and put it back in. And he said, I looked over, I remember it vividly. I looked over and I'm like, are we going? And he's like, he wasn't moving. His butt was sat in the chair, and he was sipping his sweet tea. Right. And he's like, oh, I'm going. And it was like an activation of, I'm not a boy anymore. I'm a cowboy. And the picture of the cowboy is good on that particular scenario. And I think this is why he named it that in his own experience. Right. Is that he went and saddled up his horse, and he went and chased that cow down, put it back in, came back in. And it was like a rite of passage of manhood for him. To be expected to bear the responsibility and to be thought of as capable. Yeah. Maybe he could finish it. Maybe he couldn't. But you're going to go out and risk it and try it. And we're going to let you fail if you need to. Right. So a really good picture. So I thought that was a good perspective. But as fathers with sons, for ourselves or for their sake, we have to kind of know the difference between the boy and the cowboy and stages, and let our sons. And there's another thing that happens in that stage is when you're a boy, you're still kind of on, your mom is still your whole world to a point, right? Yeah, you're always looking to dad for being asserted and patted on the head and told you're doing great or not. But when a boy shifts to that cowboy stage, he starts to cleave from his mom. He stops looking to his mom for the approval. Yeah. It's dad now. Right. And I've heard it said is like, oh, he's mine now. The dad says. Yeah. And then it breaks the mother's heart in every scenario. Every single time it always breaks the mother's heart because they're not her little boy anymore. He's becoming man. Yeah. But he can only get what he needs from his father, which is that I have what it takes. And so as a father, we're answering the question for our son. You have what it takes. I believe in you. You can do this. the backing them up, the giving them the opportunities, the letting them fail and overcome and build their courage and their independence. We have to stand there and we need to tell them, hey, you have what it takes. You're strong, you're wild, you're capable. We need to be that voice. And of course, God is that voice, but he's our father and we're their father. And so we both come alongside.
Yeah.
We're going to point them to God and to bring that question as they become more of a man. But in the sense, that's where as a father, we come alongside our sons. Huge thing. So that's the cowboy stage. Third stage, warrior stage. Which is kind of my favorite one, just because it's warrior stage, of course. It's awesome. So here I kind of break into, what does it mean to be a warrior? And the masculinity, the whole basis of our last podcast was a lot about what it means to be a man, masculinity, adventure, battle, all that kind of stuff. Well, this is where the warrior stage is all about. It's the battle part, right? It's the adventure part. It's you're a man now. And so it kind of phases the stage in that 20 to 30-year-old range. I think about it as okay, now you are on the front line now. You're the warrior. When we're going to war, you're out front. You're the strongest. You're in your prime.
Yeah.
You've had the baseline experience and the training that you need to this point. You're a man now. Okay. So prove it.
Yeah. What is this age range?
20 to 30 is kind of what they said
for
this. So you're showing your strength and you're building your strength. You're getting your experience and you're proving yourself. You're taking on more and more responsibility. Like this is when we get married. This is when we often buy a house. This is when we take on the payments. This is when we get into our career and start showing what we're made of, right? We're the warrior now. This is the early expression. That maybe less early expression is you're the guy at the front line of the war. When we're going to battle, you're the front man. You're the one leading the pack of the wolves, that the guys that are going out. You're the leader of the pack. You're the captain of the team. Now's your time. You're at the peak of your strength.
Yeah.
Right. And so then we become protectors. We become dangerous. We make sacrifices, right? In this stage, we sacrifice everything to get the things that we want. We need to move ahead. We work the long hours. We do the overtime.
Yeah.
Right? We often don't get to spend as much time with our families or our wives as we'd like to because we're out making the kill.
Yeah.
We're establishing the financial strength of our family. We're getting our career off the ground. We're starting our business, right? This is the warrior stage. And I think it's important to point out here that when you talk about being a warrior, okay, this is this toxic masculinity thing, right? The people who use the word toxic masculinity don't want to hear warrior stage.
Yeah.
That's clearly wrong.
Yeah.
Right? We don't do war now, right? Violence is bad. But I will argue that is absolutely out of line because men are violent. Okay. And I'm going to get even into how Jesus and God are violent in this part of the thing. And I think it's incredibly important, but I want to lead that off with a quote from Jordan Peterson. Okay, he says, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very, very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. And following that quote in the interview that I'm talking about, the guy goes, well, what do you mean? We're going to be violent? We're going to go attack each other? He's like that I'm a violent man. He said, well, you should be capable of violence. We should be strong. We should be able and capable, and warriors are. Just because you're a warrior doesn't mean you're going out and murdering people just for the heck of it, but you certainly could. And you will if it's necessary, right? But that under control is what makes man strong and powerful. It's what keeps order and control in our society, right? We think it's the law. We think it's the government.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's men.
Yeah.
Right? If someone's going to come into your town and try to attack the women and children and rape and pillage and do whatever, who's going to stop them? The man. Okay. If someone's going to perpetrate something against my family, I'm not going to look at my wife and go, well, are you going to stop them?
Right.
Right. It's me. Yeah. And I know that. And she knows that. And that's our deal.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I bring to the relationship.
Yeah.
Is that I'm going to protect and provide for this family. And if I can't do that, I'm not holding up my end of the bargain. Right? And my sons need to see that, and my daughters need to see that, and society needs to see that, because my home is safe because I make it safe. right? And to a point, obviously I believe God makes it safe ultimately, but God gave me the strength to keep it safe and the facilities to do so, right? And so when we are fat and satiated and unfit and incapable and not independent as a man, we're missing the mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's my belief. And you can argue until you're blue in the face. I believe that.
As an example of that, there's a movie that I watched with Owen Wilson, and him and his family, they go to this other country where he's a businessman and he brings his family with, and they're only supposed to be there a few months. Mm-hmm. But when they're there, insurrection and government upheaval happens. They're on the top floor of a building, and all of a sudden people are walking around the building with machine guns looking to kill white people. Mm-hmm. And he has to protect his family and get them out of the city. And the whole movie is about that. Mm-hmm. But that's exactly the thing that I always think about.
Why do we like that movie?
Exactly. And that's exactly the same thing. It's like he goes and he tackles this one guy and he like wrestles the gun away from him. I'm like, that's why you need to be dangerous. You need to be powerful enough to get that gun away. And I think I turned to Carmen.
Evil exists in this world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we will face it at some point, some way, somehow.
Yeah.
Right? If it's even... let's just talk about, like, again, in the West, we're so desensitized to this because we're just so anti-violent and we just don't see violence so like commonly here. Not the case in the rest of the world for reference. But how about just having the nads to stand up to someone in public?
Right.
Right. And man, I'll tell a story. This is a bit vulnerable, but it haunts me to this day. So when we were younger, our kids were all very small, 1, 2, 3-ish years old. We went to Waterton to the, a hiking town park that's close by here. And we'd been out for the day and we'd hiked and we'd gone to the lake and we went to the ice cream shop. And so again, imagine 1, 2, 3-year-olds with ice cream cones and push. And I think my wife might even have been pregnant and we had to, I can't remember, but it was just full blown chaos. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so anyway, everyone's got ice cream. It's everywhere. It's on everything. We're wiping. We're napkins. We're taking the strollers. We're cleaning everything. We get everything finally packed back up and we leave. And my wife forgot her camera. Okay. And so we're literally 3 minutes walk, 5 minutes away. So we turn around and go back. Can't find it anywhere. And of course, at that time, not well off financially. Mm-hmm. This is a massive loss to our family. Never mind the pictures that are on it. My wife's in tears, right. Of course. And so anyways, we look, we can't find anything. The store never got it. Nobody turned it in. It was literally sitting there for a few minutes and it was gone. And so we load up the vehicle and we're driving out and I see a guy walking down the street with a camera, what appears to be the same camera. It's a generic camera, right? Mm-hmm. So this is wherein the problem lies. Is I'm looking at it, going, the guy's snapping some pictures and doing his thing, and I'm looking at him, going, he's a block away from where we were. He doesn't look like a photographer,
right?
I'm looking at the scenario. I'm going, $1,200 camera would be a pretty handy little thing to take and pawn off later, but he's trying to look like whatever. And I drive by slowly. And I kind of stopped and I said, "Hey," and I yelled at him, "Where'd you get that camera?" And he kind of looked at me. He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "That camera. We lost camera just like that." Anyways, a little back and forth. He goes, "Whatever, man. Screw off," kind of thing. And I'm in the car. I'm in the street. I'm blocking the road. And I just went, okay, fine, I guess. And I drove away. Right. And to this day, I go, man, if I'd got out of that car and I'd gotten in that guy's face, I probably would have got our camera back and the pictures that were in it.
Right.
And it probably was our camera. No, I still don't know for sure. But in that moment, I was not the warrior that I wanted to be for my family. I didn't do what I felt that I should have done. Even if it was his camera, I could have gotten out and I could have done something about it.
Yeah.
And I'm the man. Yeah. And I should have. And this is why even, what would it be, 15 years later, 12, 15 years later, it still bugs me because I know.
Yeah. You looking back at it and you're like,
that I didn't expend my strength through it. I actually sat back. I heard the voice, "You don't have what it takes. Just leave it alone. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't cause the violence. Don't cause the disturbance.
The commotion,
don't do the commotion. This isn't necessary. You don't need to do this. And it's not about the camera at all. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It matters that I let that answer in my ear stop me from doing what I ought to have done. And I didn't feel like the man I was supposed to be in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't the warrior that I wanted to be. And I was young, and that's fine. And I would do it different now because I played it in my head about 1,000 times. Right? And now I'm different now than I was because I learned a lesson in that.
Yeah.
In that moment. Right? But this is kind of what I'm getting to with this warrior thing is that we need to be capable to stand up for our family. We need to be able to stand up for our wife when someone insults her in public.
Right.
Stand up for our kids when someone says something that's not right. Right. There's turn the other cheek, and then there's just being a flippin' whiny loser.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's
true. Yeah.
Don't be a wuss. Okay. Yeah. We need to be the man. We know that we need to be the man. And that needs to be expressed, and we need to look ourselves in the mirror and find a way to be capable of violence, capable of disturbing the peace, capable of standing up in the gap for our family. And that's not just in the real life, that's also in the spiritual realm.
Yes, absolutely.
That's standing up against evil in our household. That's standing up against demonic attacks on our family and spiritual attacks on our family. That's getting on our freaking knees in the dark at 4:00 in the morning and praying to God for the things that we want for our family and standing on those and circling those things that we need for our family. Okay? That's what a warrior does.
Yeah. And it's about being that for your friends as well.
Yeah. Being that, like, what friend, like if you have a friend, who's the guy you're going to call when you got to go take care of some business?
Yeah.
When you need to go get something done, when you need to go get a pep talk or whatever it be, right? This is what warriors do.
Yeah.
Okay. And we want to be that, and we need to get that stage, because if we don't leave the cowboy stage and we never ever take any responsibility and we never ever are willing to stand and fight for what we believe in, stand and fight for our family, stand and fight for our marriage, stand and fight for our faith, stand and fight for our job, our career, what's right, the politics, all of these things. There's a time and a place to learn this, and there's a stage. And God wants to walk through us through that stage to help us become fully all that we are meant to be as a man. Okay. Got a couple of more things to read on here. I want to get into Jesus, who Jesus was, right? Because Jesus is a warrior.
Right.
Okay. And I don't think people paint him in that. I love the breakdown of him in these two books. John Eldredge really gets into it, like scripturally, to another depth more so than I am going to here. But the point is like, Jesus is a carpenter. He was a sailor. Okay. He was a leader that drew rough and tough dudes out of their things and got to follow him. Okay. He flipped tables. He built whips. He yelled at Pharisees in public squares. He almost got stoned regularly. He stood for what he believed in. He was a man. He was a warrior, and he was willing to do that. He threw out demons, right? Like he stood up for what he believed in spiritually. He stood up physically. He went to the cross, which is an extremely violent thing. Now, he didn't perpetrate the violence, but he met a very violent reality, and he powered through that and stood against it. He didn't go, I don't want to get nails put through my hands and feet. He went, bring it on. Yeah. He stood there.
And got beat by them before even going
on.
Beat
first, didn't say a word. This guy's tough as tough comes. And I want to read just a bit of scripture, which I got on my phone here. That describes Jesus in Revelation. And, you know, there's the Jesus that was the man on earth, but there's Jesus as he's described in the Bible as well. And this particular section, I think, paints a pretty visual picture. So Revelation 19:11 through 16. I saw heaven standing open, and there before me was a white horse, whose rider is called Faithful and True. With justice he judges and wages war. His eyes are like blazing fire, and on his head are many crowns. He has a name written on him that no one knows but he himself. He is dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and his name is the Word of God. The armies of heaven were following him, riding on white horses and dressed in fine linen, white and clean. Coming out of his mouth is a sharp sword with which to strike down the nations. He will rule them with an iron scepter. He treads the winepress of the fury of the wrath of the God Almighty. On his robe and on his thigh, he has his name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Does it sound like the lamb?
Yeah.
Like the soft and gentle Jesus who's got a child on his lap, or is that a bit of a different picture?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. God is a warrior. Like this is the God, like, and I always think same God, right? Jesus is God. God is Jesus, Holy Spirit. Okay. He sent David to war over and over again, right? He burned people up with pillars of fire.
Mm-hmm.
He struck people down who spoke against him, struck them down.
Yeah.
Right. He is not afraid to shed blood, and he is not afraid to go to war over what matters. Right. This is the God that we are created after in his image. So we are also warriors, and Jesus is also a warrior.
Yeah.
Now, there is a dichotomy to the warrior and who Jesus was in his softness and his gentleness and in his control. But this is where I go back to that Jordan Peterson quote, where it's like, we're capable of violence. We are warriors, but we're under control. We're under God's control, under his guidance, but we need to actually be able to execute on what is required of us, right? Weakness is not something to hang your hat on.
No.
It's no good, right? So again, spending a little extra time on the warrior stage because
I know.
But it really points to to be a man is to be a warrior. It is to be capable. It is to be strong. It is to be firm and willing to sacrifice, willing to go out and go into battle for what you believe in and for your family and for what matters. That's part of it.
Yeah. And, to go back to Jesus on that, when he went into the temple, it wasn't just, he's going to the temple and turning over tables. It was like, no, he fashioned a whip, which takes 30 minutes to 2 hours to do. Mm-hmm. He then went into a hostile environment where there's up to 200 people, all wanting to throw him out, all wanting to do violence against him. Mm-hmm. And he walked into the middle of that, turned over tables, and whipped people. Mm-hmm. This is not a man that is to be trifled with. Yeah. And he did so, and they all did what he said. Yeah.
Follow through. In the book, it breaks down a section where in the Garden of Gethsemane when he was praying, and then the mob or the military mob comes in to arrest him. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like a couple hundred guys, and they're in like formation coming to arrest Jesus. And then Peter guys, they have their scuffle kind of thing there. But it basically describes that Jesus stepped forward and spoke to them, and they all fell down. Like the entire however many hundred Roman military police type guys literally collapsed at his presence and his speaking in that moment. And all got back up and arrested him, and he let them arrest him. But the point is like, this is still God. Yeah. He is powerful, and he is strong, and he is violence under control.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that Holy Spirit that's, in all believers, and we're in him.
Yeah. That's who we're fashioned after, and that's who we follow, and that's our leader, right? As men, right? And so we need to tie into that, and we need to really respect and honor the fact that we are intended to be warriors, right? The man after God's own heart, David, in the Bible, waged war the majority of his life. Yeah, killed tens and tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people in his day, and this was God's purpose, right? So anyway, moving on. Even though maybe it's a little tough. Warrior. Remember, warrior. Hoorah. All that. Okay. Next stage. Slightly change of pace. Lover.
Oh.
So this one.
This 30 to 40? Is this what the age range is?
It says midlife. So it stops talking about ages here. And I think it's like going through these and seeing other men go through these. I think this whole boy, cowboy, warrior, we're stepping up. And now after this is actually like you choosing to mature and move on and appreciate like that there's more to life than just being at war, right? And you see it in the lives, like in the book, it breaks down the lives of some of the people in the Bible and like how they move through the stages, which is super helpful. But this stage is like is a deepening of who we are. A deepening of a relationship and connection with God, an appreciation for beauty and joy and intimacy and the deeper things of life. And it's something that I've like, again, I'm 35, turning 36 here. And so I'm more and more appreciate this stage as I kind of, I'll say moving into it or maturing through it. And that is that there's more to life than some of the things that when we're in the warrior stage, like we're making a way, we're taking ground, we're in the battle, right? And once you've kind of like established a bit of a situation for yourself and your family, and you've learned those things, and you've fought the fights, and you've shed the blood, that like there's more to life than this, right? And as a man, we need to mature into that. You may like appreciate some poetry and art and the world and nature for what God made it is, and the depth of who our creator is. And then so much more to it. It's about learning to love our wife and our kids and everyone that we is under our purview more deeply and more, with more understanding. Wisdom kind of comes in here a little bit in this stage, right? Strength is not just for war, but for love. And so I think this is, it's breaking that down. It's like, okay, yeah, you've used your strength and you've proven that you're big and strong and powerful, but like, are you secure enough with your masculinity to also be vulnerable and gentle and supportive and see the greater and bigger and deeper things and perspectives? Are you going to dig into the philosophy of why things matter? Right. And that's, I think it's a really strong stage. I look at it as a reading. There's a lot of reading, there's appreciating beauty, there's in chasing, like finding some deeper experiences. Often I think like too, we get in our echo chambers, especially nowadays with our social media.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, as a warrior, we love fast cars and we chase motorcycles and we hunt and we smoke meats and there's all these other things.
Yeah.
And then we kind of find our little pocket and then we can get trapped in our pocket. Right. And I see this a lot in that, and we pick our politics and we do this and we do that, but we don't actually stop and appreciate other people's perspectives. We don't go and see the things that we don't actually care that much about, but there's so much more out there. And the intentionality of going, okay, hey, yeah, I've done this, improved myself. I like cars, I like this, I like that, but like what else is out there? Right. What more, how can I deepen my perspective and my understanding and become more able and capable of leading and touching and interacting with the different types of people and different perspectives, right? So again, a very strong, powerful stage, something that I'm kind of in the midst of right now. How do I divert from my echo chamber and find other rhythms, other experiences, other ways of doing things, and just deepen my wisdom and my understanding of life? Number 5, king. I like this one also. You know, warrior king. We could just skip the lover.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
but maybe don't.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why, right? So if we skip the lover stage and we go into warrior to king, even if we look through the stories of the Bible, talk about like Saul, for example, the story of Saul, warrior, absolute beast of a man, becomes king, but just lacks depth. Just not a deep dude, right? Like it's just anger and raw power, and they talk about tyranny in here of the wrong expression of coming into the king stage, not fully deepened. And even if you look at David and his life, he was told he was going to be king at quite a young age, and then he didn't get to be king for like over another decade. I can't remember how long it was, but it's like 11 or more years.
Saul trying to kill him the whole time. Yeah,
Saul's chasing him around trying to kill him, but he's writing music, he's battling, he's traveling around, seeing different things. He's, you know, like he's getting some experience, but he moves a bit through the deepening of his personality. And this is a bit how I see that, is that, hey, God went, you know, I don't think you're quite ready for this yet. You're still young, you're still warring. And yeah, you're still going to go to war when you're the king. But when you're the king, there's a lot of people under your control and under your power, and you have a huge amount of influence, right? And so, and I even think this for myself often when I feel like opportunities aren't presented, or I'm not getting the things that I want, or empire, legacy, kingdom, it's not building. I often think, well, is it because I'm not ready yet? Am I not deep enough yet? Have I not learned the things I need to learn? I'm not where God wants me to be to receive that authority or receive that influence at this time. And so it's a question we need to ask ourselves when we're like shifting into that stage, right? So for king, it becomes about leadership, it becomes about stewardship, it becomes about legacy, right? We have a ton of resources at our fingertips. We've, if it's in business, you've built this big, powerful business. You're very financially stable and strong. You have employees who are looking to you to lead and to guide them. You've got kids that are maybe even grown up and adult and grandchildren, and now you're the matriarch or patriarch of the family, and so everybody's looking at you. You're the one that is the decision maker. You're like, you're what you would call the when you walk into the into the dealership, you're the guy that they're going after. You got the money. You're the guy doing the buying. Yeah, right. You've got this like social power at a certain age. Like you've stepped into. You probably got a gray strip of hair down the side of your head. Look at Tyler, King. Yeah. But the problem is that if we lack humility and we lack depth, we lack understanding and experience, and we get this level of strength, we're going to not have the justice, the humility, the understanding to wield it in a stewardly and godly way. Right. And we see it all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know in reality how many people really make it to this stage in a healthy fashion.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you look out in the world, you look at politics, you look at the influence and the power that people get and how they don't steward it well. I've seen people do this amazing, and they're outstanding human beings, and they've been walking with God through this whole time. Mm-hmm. And when they get to hear, man, the impact they have, it's amazing. And then you see the people who are running multi-billion-dollar businesses in our society, and the lead of our political parties, and the generals of our armies, and these people are not good people. They have not walked through the other stages. They have not learned the lessons, and they haven't moved through it with God, and they haven't learned to be selfless in their leadership. Yeah. Right? And so they become tyrants. Yeah. It's tyranny, it's selfishness, it's advantage taking, and it's empire building. And this is kind of where I point to, and something I've really been thinking on. I actually might do a whole podcast on the topic, but David and Solomon's life specifically, there was a time when they shifted their perspectives from building God's kingdom for the glory of God to building their empire for the glory of them. Mm-hmm. And if we get into the king stage to build an empire for the glory of us and not build a kingdom for the glory of God, we're missing the mark, missing the point, and the purpose of why we're going into this stage. And so if there's one thing we want to talk about, we want to talk about building a kingdom for God's glory and not an empire for our own. Right. Right. That's the key to the king stage is that. Right. Okay. Continuing to move, because we don't want to make this an 8-hour podcast. The last stage, number 6, is the sage, is what he calls it. And so this is where we're getting a little older. We're not maybe digging ditches anymore, and we're not going to, we're going to step back from the king position, whether it be our sons or other people are stepping up into that role, but they need that support. They need the mentoring. They need the wisdom. And someone needs to be that guy. Mm-hmm. So we're going to focus on wisdom. We're going to focus on guidance. We're going to focus on mentoring. It's about stepping back and supporting. It's about providing perspective, stability for those who need mentoring. You have now lived a very full life, and you have a lot to give, but it's not necessarily in your body and in your strength anymore, and who you are as a man. Your value is in what you know and how you can share it, and the stumbling blocks you can remove from other people, and the clarity you can give to people who are coming up through the other stages. Mm-hmm. I talk often about my dad going into this stage at a fairly early age, in his 50s. And kind of letting me step into the lead role for our organization, for our businesses. I'm probably, like I say, talk about the lover stage and the king stage. I think sometimes we've got a foot in each camp in a lot of these stages as we're moving through, or maybe we get put into the king stage, but we're fairly well aware that we're lacking some depth, and so we're kind of stepping back into the other stage. But when that time came for our family and our organization. Not that he's falling. I would say he's got a foot in both camps, but for me, he let me get out in front and start calling the shots and take over some of the advantage and the power within the organization. But he held the reins and he mentored and he pointed out the stumbling blocks. Look out for that. Oh, look out for that. Are you sure that that's a good idea? Do we need to think about that a little more? He moved out and into that stage very gracefully, and that's not very common.
Mm-hmm.
I would go as far as to say people often get there, but a lot of people never ever become a sage and realize that they need to actually use everything they know to support other men to men situations and to use their experience to benefit others. All of these things are meant to be done in a selfless way, right? And I think any person in their 80s has the ability to share what they've learned and what they've known and with the younger generation, but often the younger generation doesn't want to hear it and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. And in a lot of scenarios, once a person gets into the king stage, they never want to let it go. They like the power, they like the control, and they don't want anyone else. Saul's a good example. I've seen it in countless business relationships where the son has worked and he's been the warrior and he's deep in himself and he's ready. He's ready to take it on, and the dad will not let it go. They hold tight. They hold tight in the family. They don't ever let the son ever be a decision maker. You stay down there. Yeah. I make the decisions. Right. And they hold on to the authority and the power of the king stage for way too long. And it becomes incredibly unhealthy for everyone because they actually don't want things to change and to grow and to progress. They want it to stay the same. Right. And we see it all the time. Maintain control. Don't let anything change and watch everything plateau and spiral. And people leave. Right. People don't want to follow the lead of a king who's holding tight to everything and squashing the kingdom under the weight of his tyrant rule, right? And so I tell the story about my dad because I think he did it so well, and I think a massive success of our business is that between him and I, we have the sage and the king thing handled very well here, and I couldn't have done it without him letting me have the room to express that stage in myself, and two, him being the mentoring, helpful, supportive voice in that moment. Right. And so it's been, when I read this book, I went, oh, wow, this really clarifies some of the reasons that we are succeeding or some of the positives, the way that we've operated through these stages and the actual beauty of moving through the stages at the right time and be willing to accept, hey, maybe not the king stage right now for me. It's the sage one that is important. And maybe I'll have to step back into the king stage at one point. But right now, this is the role I'm going to play in the walk that we're walking in for the relationship between me and that person. Right. Even now, as I'm giving advice and doing podcasts, there's moments that I'm being a sage to someone at a lower range as I amass experience and wisdom and opportunity that I'm willing to share it with others, shows that I'm maturing into that stage, and I know that that's coming, right? So those are the 6. I'll do a quick overview. So again, the boyhood, 0 to 12. We're exploring, we're free, we're safe, we're adventuring, we're playing. Cowboy, we're testing, we're proving, we're looking for independence, we're growing our courage. Warrior, strength, experience, responsibility, protection, becoming dangerous, making sacrifices, taking ground, right? Talking about Jesus and how he was a warrior and the example that he set for us in that respect. 4, lover, connection, beauty, joy, intimacy, deepening of who we are as a man, so that when we step into authority over others, that we are fully rounded and have good perspective. I have a note here that I didn't really say is that without this stage, we become cold, hard, and detached, right? We don't want that. We want to be empathetic. We want to be feeling. We want to be compassionate. We need those parts of us. And as a warrior, we haven't always cultivated that. We've become hard. We've become cold. We've become aggressive.
Hard-hearted.
We need to find another layer, a level of who we are as a man. King stage, leadership, stewardship, legacy, taking ownership of family, business, ministry, making sure that justice and humility is happening, and that tyranny is not the selfish experience of the king. And finally, the sage, which is the wisdom, the guidance, the mentoring, the stepping back and supporting of the people in the other stages. So, fathered by God, Really spectacular book. Again,
That's
I'm
good,
going to
yeah.
pump that one. John Eldredge is extremely wise voice in the arena of men and men's hearts. Totally worth checking out. He has a really good Instagram page as well, which is Wild at Heart, or as Jeremy calls it, Wilda Heart. So again, thank you for tuning in. Part 2, Be a Man.
Yeah, that's great.
We want you to have the question in your heart answered, that you have what it takes, that you were built for this, that you're strong, you're courageous, you're able, and that God wants you to understand that and to know that and to grow through and walk through the stages of manhood with God, and he's going to be there with you. More in-depth breakdown of this in the book. Highly recommend going it. But yeah, don't let the world devalue and weaken your masculinity.
Yeah.
It's who you are. It's who you're meant to be. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be courageous. You're supposed to be capable of violence. You need to be under control and powerful to further the kingdom that God has. And there's many battles to fight ahead, and you should be prepared to fight them.
Yeah, lean into it.
Lean in. Be a man.
Be a man.
Have a great week, everyone.